One, two, three. Penguin.
Suit. Penguin suit. Brian.
Okay, don't fuck this up.
You don't fuck this up.
You don't fuck it up.
I don't
One,
fuck
two, three. Tuxedo. There we go.
Brian wants to do a podcast.
Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Friend Dog Studios. This is Brian Wants to Do a Podcast. The podcast where Brian wants to do one. We have not decided on a podcast format yet, but we're gonna get there. I just know it because every week we got something new that we throw at the wall to see if it sticks. Let me try this again because I skipped the gun.
I jumped the important part.
I buried the dog.
I lost the lead.
I killed a man in 1994 and I never told anyone about it. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Friend Dog Studios. This is Brian Wants to Do a Podcast. I'm Ben Oksher.
I'm Brian Huther.
And every week we throw another idea against the wall, see if it sticks. Thus far, nothing that we feel that we want to dedicate our lives to, but I think we're going to find something.
Having a podcast is like having a baby.
In many ways.
You'll never sleep. Mm-hmm. You're not going to make any money.
Eventually, it will grow up to disappoint you by making a podcast.
Right.
So we had the idea to get concepts for new podcast episodes from our listeners, starting with this episode, and we were going to do a big push for that, but we didn't do that because the week that we happen to be recording, a lot of artists and entertainers are kind of quieting down their presence on social media to make room for more important things.
I want to focus attention on some stuff.
Yeah.
Are we sure we have listeners? I'm not entirely sure we have listeners.
When I go, there are analytics that say that the file has been, I can look at okay, it's been played and downloaded more times than I've played or downloaded it.
It might be the cat. It might just be the cat.
It might be Dr. Shoban Poolittle, our cat.
Shoban Poolittle, our foster cat.
You don't need to keep reminding her she's only a foster cat.
She's
right there.
You're never going to be part of the family.
She already hates us because she's a cat.
Yeah. Why do people have cats? It's like, oh, I need a pet to keep me company. How about my mother-in-law? I want somebody who's just going to bug me about all the things I don't do for them and is going to get up in the middle of the night and walk around on my creaky floors.
Well, she doesn't mind some pets.
She doesn't mind some pets. Every once in a while, she'll make biscuits on my belly.
Can you imagine living...
If your mother-in-law made biscuits on your belly?
First of all, please don't read my fan fiction without my permission.
Oh, God.
Mother-in-law... But now, here's the real question.
What show or something are you doing?
What franchise is that fan fiction on?
What franchise has a mother-in-law?
Meet the Parents. Meet the Parents has a mother-in-law in it, and that is what my fan fiction is of.
Who's she making biscuits on?
She's making biscuits on just the littlest man who's me in this.
Oh, you
scenario.
Put yourself in there.
Yeah,
huh?
It's one. I can't remember the name for that in fan fiction.
There is a name. There must be.
Oh, there is. There totally is. I just wait. Hold on.
Autoerotic fanfixiation.
All right, we will see you on next week's episode of Brian Wants to Do a... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hey, Brian.
No.
We will see you on the next episode.
It's a pleasure to have you in the studio today, Ben.
Oh, thank you.
How long are you in town for? Do you have any tour dates?
I will be visiting the maw of hell itself that has opened up during 2020. That's going to be late this month in July.
Are there tickets still available for that?
There are tickets still available for that. They are going for the price of your soul, although if you go through Ticketmaster, there's still a surcharge somehow.
What happens when Jesus walks into that show?
Hi, I think I'm on the guest list. Do you know who my father is?
I was thinking about Jesus the other day.
Oh, well, he was thinking about you.
I'm going to get a house pet, and that house pet is going to be our Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay, now just to be clear, you're not saying that you're going to just go get a fish and name it the Lord Jesus Christ.
No.
And then multiply it into many fishes.
I'm going to make a little pet bed. Just put Jesus' name on it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put out a food dish.
So this is like a really blasphemous, degrading version of the Jewish tradition of leaving a chair open for Elijah.
Yeah, sort of. It's like kind of also like a pet rock, but with nothing actually there.
That's what Jesus said when he found Peter. He put googly eyes. He put googly eyes on his stone. We talk about the Bible a lot on this podcast. But I know that not all of our listeners like grew up with the Bible. So just so you know,
Assuming we have listeners.
here's how it went. Some people were like stoning this woman, and
Oh, this is fun.
and-
oh, yeah.
and Jesus was like,
is this one big enough?
Jesus was like, hey, any of y'all who have never fucked up, go ahead and throw the first stone. And everybody was like, oh man, I don't know. And he's like, that's right. And so he picked up a stone, but he didn't throw it. He put googly eyes on it. He put a couple of googly eyes. He drew a Sharpie mouth smile. And he said, upon this rock, I will build my church. And everybody was like, I can't tell if this guy is great or crazy.
That's true of all the best artists.
We really need to get into the part where I actually ask you what the episode is about.
Okay.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
What podcast idea do you want to float today?
I thought we were going to get one from listeners.
I know. And unfortunately, like I said, due to circumstances, we just didn't really push for that.
Okay. So I need one now.
Yeah.
I'll just give me a second.
Okay. Wow, that's a very deep pile of papers.
Baby's mad. Baby's mad now. Why you gotta drop baby like that? Why you gotta drop baby? All right. You got something for you.
Okay.
Here's what I've got, Ben. It's
Yeah.
my favorite girder. Hang on with me here. It's about architecture and construction. I think there's a market that hasn't been filled yet. So there's people who are building buildings all day. And what are they going to put in their ears before it's lunchtime?
Brian, what's a girder in construction terms?
It is it's a large, long piece of heavy metal.
Okay.
And I don't mean a rock opera. You ever see one of those I-beams?
Yeah, well, Apple comes out with a new one like every other year.
I hate it. Yeah, like my I-beam keeps losing charge.
Well, it's planned obsolescence. Every time that you build a building made of Apple's I-beams, you
Yep.
got to know that the support's not going to be there within a couple of years.
Yeah, they're going to no longer support that girder.
It's going to crash all the time.
Yeah.
A girder, or girder, if you want to say it weird,
Okay.
is a support beam used in construction. It is the main horizontal support of a structure which supports smaller beams. Girders have often an I-beam cross-section composed of two load-bearing flanges separated by a stabilizing web, but may also have a box shape, Z-shape, or other forms.
See, who couldn't love this?
Who couldn't?
Which one's your favorite?
Oh, geez, of all those words I just said,
Yeah.
I'd say flanges.
Here's a question I have for you. Do you have a favorite building? Do you have any favorite buildings?
Do I have any favorite buildings? What a question.
Or just what buildings from your life stand out to you?
What buildings from my...
Are you just going to keep repeating every question that I
am
ask?
I just going to keep repeating every question?
Oh, for...
Another structure that means a lot to me is the Burj Khalifa.
I don't even know what that is.
No? It's the tallest building in the world.
Is that like Wiz Khalifa?
Well, they're both very high.
Porn star Mia Khalifa? I think that's
Ryan,
her
you
name.
just went right past my very good joke.
I don't know what the Burj Khalifa is.
Well, Ryan, listen.
yeah.
The Burj Khalifa, which was built like within the last 10 years,
Okay.
is the tallest building in the world. It is
Right.
in Dubai. Okay. And you said Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
And I said, well, they're both pretty high.
Okay.
Wiz Khalifa is known.
That is really...
in his public persona.
Look, I got to give it... Look. I'm giving you the claps, my son.
All right. Well, now that Brian has given me the clap.
What is it? What does it... I mean, is it offices or...
Yeah, I think it's mostly offices, companies and stuff, because, the Dubai is just a ridiculously wealthy city because of all the oil money that they have. I wonder how they've been feeling the last few months. Ha ha, fuckers.
Oh, yeah, because they have a bunch of oil.
Because they had a bunch of oil that went into negative prices.
Can we talk about the price of oil recently?
Let's talk about the price
Let's talk
of oil.
about, I don't know if you've heard about this.
Never heard
The
about
price of oil has gone so far down that it's
Yeah.
in negative territory.
Yeah.
People are literally paying other people to take the oil off their hands. I never thought we'd see this day. What do you think about that?
Well, now, I've been paying people to take the oil off my hands. Every time I go to the spa, I get a treatment that detoxifies. I get a nice exfoliation. I get all the oil off my
yeah, they
hands.
have people put it on there for you. Then you just gotta sing a little song, get them to take it off. Just take this oil off my hands. Take it off of
My hands. I pay my butler to take the oil off my pizza by dabbing it with a napkin. Now, I won't touch napkins myself. I will have my butler touch napkins, and I'll have my butler touch me. It makes me feel clean while I eat my pizza.
So the price of oil.
Whoa, it's like we got interrupted by another podcast.
Yeah,
there
that was
for a
weird.
second.
Something sort of
That was like
something interrupted our airwaves because that's definitely how this works.
Yeah, it was like this must have been Dubai Khalifa. I don't know. You can't just mention anything and call it a callback. You know what I mean?
Don't call it a callback. No, what am I even referencing? See, I'm referencing things I don't even know what they are. LL Cool J. That's
Gotcha.
That's from Mama Said
You know,
Nothing.
you're on top of these references today.
Yeah, they call me the library because I got references for days.
Yeah, this is really good. You got you got some stacks on you too.
They call me the bottom of a resume because I got 3 to 4 references every time.
Concept for the podcast. Each episode, we take a building and we talk about the building.
Yeah, we could call it Building on Buildings.
We could call it Buildings Montana.
We could call it
My Favorite Girder. It's already called My Favorite Girder. Why are you coming up with new names for it?
Architecture Thing. Technically speaking, construction paper. Laying foundations.
My Favorite Girder. It's called My Favorite
If
Girder.
only we could come up with one decent...
The only good thing about this idea until now was My Favorite Girder.
Archway arch nemesis.
If walls could talk.
If only we could come up with one decent name.
If balls could walk.
That's it.
What if that? What if balls could walk?
You mean what if they had the ability to walk?
I mean,
but-
what if we had 2 very tiny, proportionately sized legs extending from the bottom of our testicular sacs?
I reject the premise.
And so if we were to straddle above a small table, our balls could do a little high kicking dance to time step.
Now, look, I didn't want to reveal this till now, but if you come to my show at the Gaping Maw of Hell later this month, the dark forces that will overtake me will actually enable that kind of ball step.
There's a little step ball change. Ben's shaking his fist because he's like, I can't. You found that.
It's a mixture of admiration and failure because I'm just like, that's so good.
Hey, you know what?
How did I not find it?
It's just sort of pain through sustained comedy.
That was the original title of America's Funniest Home Videos, where people just got kicked in the crotch over and over. The working title was Pain Through Sustained Comedy.
It was,
and the producers,
it was an Andy Warhol piece.
yeah, the producers were like, "What do you think, Bob Saget?" And he finished doing his cocaine, and he was just like, "I don't care. Where's my check?" And they were like, "Put on this wholesome jacket," and he was like, "Okay."
Yeah, you know, you put a white man in a suit, give him a little touch up, he looks respectable as fuck.
Yeah, he looks like a couple of respectable spectacles. If you look erudite, once you don your glasses, you are a respectable, bespectacled spectacle.
But Bob Saget, honestly, I would call him more of a receptacle.
Yeah. He's more of a
trash.
pseudo-intellectual
Receptacle who
receptacle.
looks like a respectable, bespectacled spectacle.
Let's go to Patreon.
Okay.
You know, Brian. That's it. You know Brian.
I know Brian. Do you know Brian?
I do. And I know that Brian happens to have a Patreon called patreon.com/frienddog. And that's a place that you can go to throw some money in the tip jar for us if you want. Although there are so many other things going on.
If you aren't giving to some of the more urgent and important needs right now, we encourage you to do that first.
Yeah, do that first. If you want to help us out in a way that's not monetary, you can share this podcast. You can tell friends about it. You can rate it. That's all. If I can just step out of quote unquote character for a minute.
Yeah, let's step out of character for a minute and say some real shit.
Let me just say, Black Lives Matter. Fuck the racist cops. Fuck the abusive cops. Fuck the institutions and the programs that protect and enable them. Fuck the people who apologize for and defend them. And fuck Trump. In Jesus' name, amen. I just realized halfway through that it felt like I was doing a reverse prayer.
But yes, fuck those things.
Just fuck them so hard.
Get out there and fuck that shit.
Also, please fucking vote.
Do the voting.
Please vote.
But also just like burn it down.
Yeah,
No.
Do the activism. Just don't forget to vote during the activism, because if you don't vote with the activism, then it's going to be 4 more years of Trump, and all the activism is going to be a more uphill battle. So just don't forget the voting part. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, all right. And give us $5 for comedy for comedy yuck yucks. Oh shit. Ben, I
What?
just realized something.
What?
Ballerina.
Let's get back to the show.
Okay.
We're talking about buildings. We're talking about construction.
The structures of our nation.
Yes. We're talking about
The infrastructures, the hyperstructures.
infostructures. That's what it could be called.
My favorite girder.
I agree. Infostructures is a really great title.
Hi, Ben. I'm the frustration monster that lives inside of Brian.
What are you doing here, frustration monster?
I have to tell you something from Brian.
All right, go ahead.
He thinks he came up with a real good name for this podcast idea.
Really? What is it?
It's my favorite girder.
You're growling. You're grumbling. I can't.
My favorite girder.
Oh, I agree. Picking up good foundations is a good.
Yeah.
I am the frustration monster inside the frustration monster.
Really? You're strangely more soft-spoken than he is.
That's right. This is because mostly what I do is just eat things.
Oh, okay. So you're just sort of a stress eater.
I'm just gonna go over here and eat this pen.
Can I talk to the frustration monster inside of you?
Okay. Hello.
Hi. You're cute.
Oh, thanks.
What do you do?
Mostly I like to run around on the floor and pick up crumbs.
All right, you've gone full circle with the cute. Now you're annoying. I'm gonna squish you with this pin.
Oh no! Tell my mom I was frustrated with her.
No. All right.
Oh boy.
It's good to get that stuff out sometimes.
That was very therapeutic. I hope you feel more listened to now.
I really do. I feel more listened to, even though you haven't. You know?
We should get a pizza.
Let's brainstorm segments that could go on the podcast.
Okay.
Let's just throw out ideas. No bad ideas. We do a segment about buildings that were built this week.
We do a segment about the room you should stay the most away from today.
Rooms that are haunted.
Rooms where they shot the film The Room.
Interesting, different kinds of rooms, like, for example, the vomitorium, which has some myths about it, but then also are there other... What's a conservatory?
Rooms where they shot the Brie Larson film Room.
Rooms where they shot John F. Kennedy.
You mean outside?
Yeah. We could talk about sex dungeons.
Whoa!
I mean, so like there's rooms in different types of rooms are built for specific purposes.
That's true. What's
Call it the room where it fappened. We don't acknowledge puns on this show. We said many weeks ago.
We don't. We don't negotiate with terrorists, and we don't acknowledge puns. What are some other strange rooms that we don't have anymore? Dining rooms? What the hell is that?
The drawing room.
The drawing room. Yeah. Why is it called that? Did people just sit in there and draw because they didn't have computers yet because they're so stupid?
I don't know. You draw drapes? Maybe it's like the room where the drapes are in
The
front?
room where they're just constantly opening and closing drapes?
You don't have to do what the room says.
Surely every room that has windows also has drapes. So it's just like, look, the defining characteristic of this room is that it also has drapes. This room has so little personality. We just named it after the activity of letting light into it.
They're not drawing a bath because there's no bath in there.
True.
They could be drawing attention to themselves often. It feels like the place where like a Pride and Prejudice person might play the piano.
Oh, here's interesting.
Okay. Here's interesting.
Here's what we need to do is we need to get like a truffle pig, but like train it instead of to find the truffles to find the interesting. And it just goes oinky oinky, here's interesting.
Oinky oinky, here's interesting.
The name is derived from the 16th century terms withdrawing room and withdrawing chamber, which remained in use at the 17th century. A withdrawing room was a room to which the owner of the house, his wife, or a distinguished guest who was occupying one of the main apartments in the house. Fuck! Houses are so big when you're rich. Could withdraw for more privacy. So it's literally like a side meeting room where you're going to be like, may I speak to you in this area? And then they go over there. They withdraw from everyone.
Oh, I will withdraw to the withdrawing room.
Where do the withdrawal?
My laudanum's run out. I'm going to go to the withdrawing room.
Pay no attention to the screams. What other kind of rooms are there? There's the drawing room. There's the parlor.
The parlor.
That's where you do tricks. I love the word parlor because it's associated with parlor games and parlor tricks, and that just both sound old timey and fun.
Yeah, parlor's a good one.
I want to live back in the day when you have people over, you go into the parlor and everybody just yells their favorite games and tricks.
Everybody does tricks. Everybody does tricks in the parlor.
Everybody does their trick in the parlor, and there's one poor guy whose trick just is so bad.
It's like, look at my hand.
It's just like,
That's it. Oh, well, it's just my hand is here.
my hand is here. Oh, but where is it gone? Nowhere. It's still in front of me.
Jeff, that's just your hand. It's
Yes.
You think you're doing some kind of anti-magic. You think you're something really clever, like a post-magic trick.
I am subverting your expectations of what a magic trick could be.
Oh,
This parlor trick is so tricky that the trick is there's no trick. Don't you understand?
Yeah, I understand, but look at Matilda over there is making her entire head disappear.
5 entire digits wiggling right before your nose. Watch carefully. There they still are.
Anybody could do that. A 5-year-old could do that.
Now watch the palm of my hand and notice how it remains unscathed.
There's nothing here to threaten it, my good sir.
Indeed, no scathing instrument presents a danger, and thus unscathed it remains. Taking a bow.
That's just the worst parlor trick guy.
I saw you go in there from a mile away, and I liked it.
Brian, I am not nearly a mile away. We are at most 4 feet apart.
Oh boy, that's 2 feet short of the special distance
Unit.
requirement.
The special distance unit. Law and Order. SDU.
How's that thing go? It's like a dang, down, bow. I don't know.
It's like wow, 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 wow.
Oh, no. I think it's more like bwah, 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 bwah.
I think it's like dong, dong. The time is 4:15.
Law and Order Special Distance Unit. Oh, we found somebody's over there. They're not standing far enough apart.
Yeah, look, Chief, from what we can tell, the perp was standing here, whilst the other perp was standing here, roughly 4 feet away.
That's 2 feet short of the Special Distance Unit.
I know. Your methods are unorthodox. I want your gun and your badge.
You can't have them. I'm here to protect law and order, whether that means I break the laws and the orders.
Damn it, Sanchez. If I could get any closer than 6 feet to you right now, I'd take your badge myself.
Here, you can have it. I'm going solo. You, get further apart from one another.
What?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Law and Order to.
I don't
to do
either.
that.
I hardly ever watched a police procedural.
Yeah, you know what?
What?
FTP.
File transfer protocol?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Ryan, let's do pros and cons.
Oh wait, just hold on. ACAB.
ACAB.
Yeah, all cranberries are berries. That's just a little, just something I have to remember because sometimes I feel like cranberries are a candy, but they're not. Or like a grape, but they're not a grape. They're berries. So should we do cones and prawns?
Yeah.
Cones and prawns. What's going on?
I'm low in my song.
No, I'm lower. It's cones and prawns.
You were a little flat that time.
I was a little flat. You were a little sharp. Let's call the whole thing Alf. Ben, I feel like we need to have a conversation about cones and prawns.
Why?
I was wrong. That I think we need to decide which one's which.
We need to decide which one's which.
Yeah.
Let's flip a coin.
All right. Do you have a coin?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I do, actually.
I can't see what he's doing there behind his 3 computer screens.
I have 3 computers.
He's got 3 monitors.
Like
set
I'm a
up.
goddamn day trader.
Yeah, you know what he is? He's one of those hacker boys.
All right, here we go. All right.
You can't just flip it. We got to figure out what's what.
Oh, no, that's right. I forgot how.
All right,
work.
so heads we do it my way, tails we do it your way.
Yeah. Here we go. It is tails.
All right, so how do we do it?
We're gonna do this my way.
Which one's good? Okay, don't talk to me sexy like that because I'm not into it.
Pros and cons.
Yes.
Pro is good. Con is bad. Cones and prawns. Cone is good. Prawn is bad.
Okay, cones are good.
It's the order in which the words are said.
Right.
Just remember
okay, so
it that way.
Cones and cones are good because we have cones in our eyes. They help us see colors.
Yes.
And
Prawns are bad
Prawns are
because
bad.
they're gross little fish.
yeah, they're gross little fish. All right. So okay, good. So cones about this. I mean, you said before we're not experts in architecture or buildings, and that's a fair point.
Okay, you already got it wrong. You already got it wrong.
I did it wrong already.
Jesus.
Okay, but that's a prawn. That's a prawn because it's a gross little fish.
Yeah. I think one prawn might be, I don't know who the audience is necessarily. Like I said, in all of my time surfing the world of podcasts, I have yet to come across a podcast that really delves into this area.
I imagine it this way. Imagine a construction worker in an orange or yellow hat.
Oh, I'm doing
and a
it.
vest. And they're standing atop the skeletal structure of a tall skyscraping building. They're standing on top of a girder, and they pull out their little cellular phone with their Bluetooth headset, and they click a play on My Favorite Girder, and they just get right to damn work.
So that's your cone, is an imaginary construction worker who, like in an old-timey photo, is sitting atop a high I-beam with his sack lunch enjoying our antics.
Let's call him Daryl.
All right,
Can
Daryl.
we say that guy's name's Daryl?
Okay, so the
cone is Daryl.
the cone
Daryl is a
Daryl.
cone.
Brian,
Yes.
scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, can't do this podcast, won't do this podcast.
5.
All
That's
right.
5. Ben, scale 1 to 10.
5.
1 be. Thanks for joining us today, everyone.
We
That was our
are
episode.
directly down the middle on this one. We'll try
Like
again.
a well-placed girder, we are cutting this. God,
We know so
started
little
good.
about
It
girdles.
started so good.
Girders. I called them girdles.
Oh boy. Oh no. Hey, if you've got an idea for a podcast you think that we should do, even if this is as simple as a dumb pun on another podcast title,
Or it's just like do one about rabbits.
yeah, you know what? Just send that our way because my brain is
Clearly out of ideas.
Running out of
and we're
ideas.
rounding up to our 10th episode next time around.
That's a big one for us. The big 1-0.
The big 1-0, we're getting into the entire double digits. So if you want to send us a podcast idea episode, tweet at us at FriendDogStudio. Send us an email.
dogandfrienddog@gmail.com. Hit us up on Insta at Friend Dog Studios. Hit us up on Facebook, Friend Dog Studios in the search bar. Get us up on SoundCloud, Friend Dog Studios.
Wherever you can find us, if you want to just send us an idea, we will probably see it pop up.
Yeah,
So
if you type in Friend Dog Studio in the Goo box and then you walk 100 feet away from your computer and shout, "Do one about bunnies," then there will be
So for Brian Huther
me,
and Ben Oxshire,
him,
I'm me
and
saying
I'm me.
I gotta wrap up this episode because we had to turn off the AC in order to do this, and I am sitting in a pool of my own sweat, and we will see you on the next episode of Brian Wants to Do a Podcast.
Stay horny, everybody.
God, you remembered.